Welcome everybody to the Rainmakers podcast. We warmly welcome everybody who's going to join us. Today, we have a very special person joining us. She is a management accountant who turned strategic marketer and is the country manager for CIMA in Sri Lanka. She was adjudged by LMD Magazine as one of 25 Sri Lankans from the millennial generation who are poised to feature among the captains of business in the future. I think in the present itself, it is true. Today, our discussion will revolve around the challenges she faced and the secrets, inspiration, guidance that helped her to challenge the social norms and rise to the absolute top. We will also touch upon her approach towards harnessing the potential of people. We warmly welcome Ms. Zahara Ansary, the country manager for CIMA in Sri Lanka. Zahara, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Prasad and Donna, for the invite. It's a great
Thank you
pleasure.
very much. We are going to discuss a lot today. So thank you very much for being here. Next up, we of course have our co-host, a lawyer, a lecturer, and the first Canfield certified success trainer in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, Rona, for always being a pillar of support in the podcast. Thank you very much for being here too.
It's a pleasure as always, Yoga.
Thank you very much. So now, shall we? We only have 1 hour and a lot to cover. Why don't we just jump right into the question?
Of course. Well, Zara, like looking at your achievement, it's truly remarkable. And your journey, I'm sure. So tell us about your journey thus far. Tell us what you attribute your success to.
Okay, I can be heard, right?
Perfect.
So, I think if there was one word that I could sum it all up to, it would be my passion and my energy. Because without those two, I don't think I would be where I am right now, or I would have achieved whatever I have achieved. Because those two things they kept me going. So in terms of my journey, so I studied at Buddhist Ladies College up until my O-levels, and then I joined Alethea International for my A-levels. Throughout, I've been studying the edXL curriculum, and both my schools have supported me to get to where I am today. On top of that would be the qualification that changed my life, the CIMA qualification. I also have an MBA and project management professional qualification. And in terms of my work career, I started off in the banking sector. I was at retail banking, and then I covered loans I've even done sales. I've been out in the fields doing the sales job right at the beginning, but throughout, someone out there always saw my potential and always, helped me climb up. So I ended up in finance, and I thought that was extremely boring. So
Perfect.
that's where it really, though I've done CIMA, even at the beginning of doing CIMA, I was kind of forced into it because my dad wanted me to be an accountant.
Right.
But my love was for marketing. My love was for people, connecting, networking, doing events.
Amazing.
So I still wanted to get my CIMA membership. So I ended up at WNS, which I loved in a way because of the trips to UK. It's a BPM company, right? A BPO company. So from WNS, at a point I was like sick of it. So I got into Airtel. It was more about business, and I loved it. Working with colleagues from India and so on. Most often we had bosses from India, right, at Airtel. So loved it. And then I wanted more challenges because I am a person who can't be in one place. I want new things. I want to keep trying to do new things and so on. And then I get the CIMA job whilst I was almost at the tail end of my maternity leave. My husband was the one who wanted me to apply because he knew I loved CIMA. I've been a part of so many CIMA subcommittees, students society and so on. So he knew how much I loved being a part of CIMA. He wanted me to apply. I didn't have hopes, but Guess who was in the third interview panel? My previous lecturer, who is now my
Oh
boss,
wow.
Venkat.
Okay.
So, well, now here I am in my role, which I love. A lot of stress, a lot of work, but I absolutely love what I do. So that's my.
Amazing.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's really an inspirational story, and it really shows how sort of like a multitasker you are, and which is remarkable, Sahara. So kudos to you, and may you be blessed more to serve better and to take on projects which that really inspires you. Yoga?
Zara, you made it feel and sound as if it's such a, like a regular, a normal, like
Yeah,
this is what happens when you work for a while. You start as a person who has
yeah,
gone on and done sales at the lowest level, and then also, like after a little while, you go and lead one of the leading organizations in Sri Lanka. That is how you made it out to be. But we are all sure that it is not the case. I'm sure there was a lot of struggle and there was a lot of judgment. There was a lot of preconceived notions of who you were and how you were and all of that. We all face it on a daily basis. Being a woman, I think you all face it a lot more than we men do. So first, why don't can we address the question of, we are taught that we can be everything we want to be in the world, like you did. And while the top leadership positions have been elusive to women, you have successfully become a leader. What are your thoughts on the glass ceiling? How much did you have to fight in order to break it, in order to come here, Zara?
Um, I guess it's not an easy journey. It's
Yeah,
it's it's also about not giving up. It's about having the right support from the family as well for your career. Because if I wasn't supported to the extent that I was by my dad and my brother and my husband post marriage, I don't think I could have got here. So it's not just the men folk at work, but also the men folk back at home, because
right.
they need to understand that sometimes there were days at WNS that I would come home at 4 in the morning when my dad's
Wow.
getting up for his morning prayers.
Prayer.
He was cool with it, and they allowed me to go out to various countries just like that on my own. That freedom came from family, so that really matters.
Yeah,
And then at the workplace, again, things are changing. That's the good thing. Things
yeah,
are changing. We are seeing the Kasturis of this world going and changing things, right? We're
yeah,
seeing, even
definitely.
when I look at from a CIMA member perspective, we've seen
Yeah,
Miss Melanie now becoming the deputy president of CIMA. We are shattering all those so-called glass ceilings,
true.
but it can only happen if that support comes from the rest within organizations. It could be men, it could be women themselves.
Perfect. This is what people usually not say. Yeah, thank you very much for saying that, Zara. Continue. Yeah,
Because sometimes it could be the women folk that would actually be that block. So I've
true.
had I've
Very
had
true.
yeah.
that kind of issues as well. So when I look back at my career, I would say the men helped me progress more. Not that the
Right.
women haven't,
Didn't.
but
Yeah.
in my own experience, I've had female mentors, but it's mostly the men who's really helped me break through.
Right.
So
Great.
I am
Great.
grateful for that. But
Yeah.
overall, I am happy to see that there is progress happening. This has been identified and companies are working towards it. And I'm very grateful for organizations that are conducting various award schemes, because that is
Yeah.
pushing the companies to get to that now.
Correct. Correct.
Like for example, GPTW has it. Women in
Yeah.
Management, what Dr.
Yeah.
Sulochana runs.
Correct.
She does a perfect job. She started off with that top 50 awards scheme.
Yes.
And then even CIMA, for that matter, we really look into diversity and inclusion. So
Yeah.
the change is
Amazing. The change is coming. That's true. That's
coming,
true.
and it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it definitely is good. It definitely is good. I think, Zara, I think I have to first of all agree with you on what you said, and I'm very happy that you said it's the men and the women, because usually what happens is it feminism and all these good things that women stand for, unfortunately takes a stand of going against men. Whereas it's not unfortunately the case, because there are women who do not help women to grow also. It's a responsibility of all of us in order to be not judgmental to anybody, whether what color you are, whether you're male, female, it doesn't matter, isn't it? So I think that's the right approach to take. We all can see people like you who have broken the glass ceiling. I think Sri Lanka has been a front runner. CIMA led by a woman, Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka led by a woman, ACCA in Sri Lanka led by a woman, Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing led by a woman, CIM led by a woman. I think Sri Lanka is taking an amazing leap in encouraging women to take leadership roles, and we have never felt uncomfortable by it. So, thank you very much for that
Yeah.
reply, Zara. John?
Yeah.
I'll probably
Of
add
course.
one more there.
Yeah.
SLID, SLID
Yeah.
is also led by a woman. A lady.
There we go. There we go. There are countries, I think they are still fighting for fun, and I think we have covered everything possible in the country. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
So while I'm being extremely proud and honored to be part of this discussion, going to the third question, Sahara. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. We see that there is unconscious bias towards women that is there in the society. What challenges have you faced and how have you stood up against them?
So yes, that is prevalent, and like I said, whilst there is awareness and corrections being done, it's been there, it's been out there, and yes, and I have gone through it as well myself. For example, there are some who would think that we can't do certain things,
Yeah.
even if you take the sales jobs and so on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of them would think, okay, you'll need to wear a short skirt to go out there and sell. No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need to.
Yeah.
For a good part of my initial career, I wasn't covered. I wasn't a hijabi, so I was normal. I was wearing normal stuff. And I've done crazy stuff. I've done anything that my male colleagues have done it better than them as well.
We can see from the achievement, I guess.
I've always managed to come out on top, and for me, it was mainly because of my what CIMA did to me. CIMA played its magic on me, and that's what helped me get to whatever that I did achieve. Then, couple of examples, right? So when people get married, they don't tell the man to go home early. They tell the lady to go home early. It has happened to me. So I actually got married to someone in the same organization that I was working at years ago. And I still remember, no one told him anything, but they were telling me, okay, you're married, you should go home early.
Yeah.
Hell no. I worked the normal way because he was understanding, and if I had work, I'd do my work. And when they know that you're expecting a baby, then they'll try and treat you differently. No. We have our talents, we have our potential, we can do our stuff. We don't need special treatment. Yes, sometimes you need to be flexible, but we can manage things on our own. So don't think that we are any less.
Yeah.
We are as resourceful, probably a little bit more resourceful, because I'm sure, Donna, you will agree, we are multitaskers, right? I'm putting Prasad on the spot here. We are multitaskers. We do a lot of things. We manage our families, our kids.
Zara, I have to tell you, this is the exact reason why we don't have a female guest, because the females get together and bash the only man in the team. So yeah, that is exactly what is happening here. Yeah, please let the bashing continue. Yeah.
But this is reality. We can achieve a lot and we can do a lot. So don't think of us as, lesser mortals. We can do all of that. And one thing I firmly believe in is, with the pandemic also coming into play, there are no 9-to-5 jobs anymore, because you might end up getting SMSs, WhatsApps in the night, during weekends, and all of that. It's purely outcome based. That's how I work with my team. I have a variety of different people in my team. I have married ladies, unmarried ladies, single mothers, a mix of everything. And for me,
I'm sure
my
one or two
target
men
for them.
also.
Sorry,
I'm sure one or two men also.
there
It's
are men
all
as
married
well, of
women, not
course.
married
Yes,
women, other
yes,
women.
yes. But with all of them, even the men folk, it's only outcome based. There's no 9 to 5 work, or that whole unconscious bias thing. We work actively towards getting rid of that,
Yeah,
because my
amazing,
organization keeps training us on things like that. So yes.
amazing, amazing. Don't I would like to add one something to the answer of Zara. It happens to the best of us, Zara. For example, you don't. It's unconscious for a reason, isn't it? So now I will tell you an incident that happened just this weekend when I went to the supermarket. At the counter, there was a lady and then there was a male. The lady was very kind to me and she was supporting me with everything and all of that. And then I wanted to know what a product that I have bought, whether how long it has warranty for. Without even realizing it, I'm asking the man who was not even bothered to serve me. And the lady was absolutely amazing. And I'm asking the man repeatedly, how long was the warranty? And this lady was repeatedly telling me it was this period, right? But then I wanted the reply from the man. And when I came and sat in the vehicle, only I was realizing what a big mistake. This is exactly his unconscious bias. We think we don't have unconscious bias or whatnot, but then we do. And I think that is why, as you correctly said, your organization is continuously training you. Uh, Organizations should train people because we do not know what's happening around us, and it's always good to be trained. And we do not know what our unconscious biases are. So that was my experience, and all of us learn from our mistakes, and that is something that I learned that day, I guess. So yeah, so you had to fight those, I'm sure, while growing to what you're today.
I think it's also like, that some jobs can't be done by women,
Yeah,
that they're not good in technical stuff.
correct.
If
Mm,
you look at the numbers, the university graduates who come out,
right.
it's mostly women. And these stats are not just mine. You'll have to look at the Sri Lankan university system stats. It's
Right.
mostly women who actually come out. And we've got engineers to technical guys, all of
Right.
that.
Yes. That's right. That's right. I think we were led by the world's first prime minister and then also a very strong president. So there we go. I think there is no need of any more proof. And at least 70% of our professional organizations are now led by strong ladies. So I don't think we need any more confirmation on that. And there is no question whatsoever. So here is Farhas Farouk. Uh, we both know him, and he's saying even men can multitask. And he is currently viewing the interesting podcast, writing this note, and having dinner. Congratulations, Farhaz. I think that's amazing. Thank you very much for standing for all men here. Fabulous.
It's a proud Alithian as well. So
Oh,
yes.
okay, right there we go. There is some relationship there. Fantastic, fantastic. Zara, the next question is: you touched upon this on your first answer as well. So many organizations, whether it's social, corporate, governmental organizations, are taking constructive action to equal the playing field for men, women, and everybody else. How do you think it could improve? How do you think it could facilitate the acceptance and equal the playing field even more?
Okay. So if you take governmental, probably a little bit more regulations. We do
Right.
know they allow, for example, maternity leave and various other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the number of, for example, again, women in boards,
Yeah.
there is no such quota, or there is no such rule, right? Whereas
Right.
in countries like Norway, if I'm not mistaken, they brought in a rule that said 40% of the boards should have women.
Right.
I'm not saying, there should be a ratio, and because of that, you need to fill it in. But it's
Yeah,
more
that's
about
important.
kind of imposing that in. as a good practice, because diversity brings on a lot of benefits into companies.
Correct.
It's not just the women folk that I
No.
advocate for usually. I believe in inclusiveness. So it should be
Yeah.
people of all kinds,
Yeah.
even LGBTQR, all of that.
Yeah.
So one thing for sure is something of that nature. The boards should have more ladies represented in it. Daycares to such facilities. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in our procedures for government servants, they still have to wear saris even if they're pregnant.
Right.
It's kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, we all know how difficult it is. Why not go more flexible on things like that? Make life easier for them, and you get the best out of them anyway. Because if not, they'll only be complaining about it, and then they won't give their best. Someone's heart's got to be in it to give their best,
Yeah.
right?
Perfect. Perfect.
When it
You
comes
said
to
it very well.
companies, things like equal opportunities, things like equal pay, all of
Yeah.
that matters.
Definitely.
Most often we see, I have seen in the past, men get paid more. Not in my current company for sure, because I am in that decision-making role and I would never let that happen, nor would my bosses. We go on a standard scale and all of that, whether it's a lady or a
Perfect.
gent. It's the skill that is getting paid for, but
Perfect.
we are
Perfect.
aware that such things also exist.
Definitely.
Then it could be flexibility. I mean, work from home was a new norm for a lot of companies in Sri Lanka, but
Yeah.
not for a few. Multinationals to some of the outstanding companies,
Yeah.
they had all of this in place anyway, right?
Yes. Very true.
So this, a pandemic should not have brought all of this in. They should have had
Very
this
true.
before. You
Correct.
look at
I
what's
agree.
happening globally, and you take those best practices,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
your people
I
are going
agree.
to be happy.
Yeah.
The happier they are, the more productive the organization is
They
going to
are.
be. The
Correct.
results are going to come out.
Perfect. Perfect. I think you
So
said it very well. Yeah.
overall, one more thing I've realized is, because now I've gone through one pregnancy and, or rather, childbirth, and now I'm going through another. Paternity leave, most often it's 5 days at max. Why can't, overseas I see that the father can take more leave. It's not just maternity leave, it's lengthier paternity leave. In our
Yeah.
cultures, it's not necessarily accepted when the lady works, but the gent stays at home. Why? The
Yeah.
world is changing. A father could
Yeah.
also stay at home and look after the child. I
Beautiful.
remember
Beautiful.
listening to Unilever, Haja from
Right.
Unilever, talking about this, right? So when she chose her career and she had to shift countries,
Yeah.
her family was supportive, her husband supportive. Why
Yeah.
can't this be the case for the women in our country as well?
True. Very true.
It has
Very,
to
very
start
true.
somewhere, Prasad. Some
That's true. I
companies.
agree. I agree. I agree. I think that's a very good point. I think the world has moved on to that, but we have not. We can only hope that we will also one day reach there. And then people like you who are in leadership positions and people like us, when we have a conversation, when we repeatedly ask for it and repeatedly fight for it, we repeatedly create that thought process in everybody else. I think we can make a difference. And or any difference in the world that has happened has only happened because of these reasons, isn't it? Fantastic. Welcome back. Exactly. That's very true. That's very true. We have to, I think it is the silence of the majority of the people is what usually is affecting any good progress that happens, because most of us anyway are very afraid of what the repercussions will be, and we are silent. If we need change, we have to speak up, and only then change will come. Perfectly said, Zara. Thank you very much. Donna, would you like to take us into the accounting and finance questions that we are eagerly waiting to ask Zara?
Of course, yoga. Well, Zahra, accountancy and finance is considered to be one of the oldest professions in the world, but still we see accountants and accountancy as very dull and boring. I hope I wouldn't get beaten up by the two accountants here. So, how would you emphasize the importance of the accounting profession today in the current
I'm
context?
very interested in this answer.
Okay. So boring if it was just numbers. It's much more than numbers.
Yeah,
Remember what I told y'all? I got bored out of a certain job because
Yeah.
at that point in time in the bank, what I had to do was fixed asset reconciliations and stuff like that. Tactic two. For a person like me, no way, no brainer. But we are more than numbers. We are much more than numbers. We make things talk about chartered accountants. I'm going to talk about management accountants. Yoga is chartered. So now is the most exciting time to actually be in management accounting, to be precise, because we make things happen. I initially didn't like CIMA but fell in love with CIMA thereafter was because I was learning marketing, operations, HR, project management. We are cut out to be business management specialists, and that is why
right.
it's so easy for me to promote my qualification. I've also done a certain finance accounting qualification. To date, I've not really seen the value in it.
Yeah.
Right.
I always see the value in the management. We are CEO. If you take any of the top companies in Sri Lanka, they are led by CIMA accountants. Almost all of them are led by CIMA. About 2 years ago, that year, yes. And then we got all these top 20 ranking companies, LMDs most respected, if I'm not mistaken. And then we brought in all the hits, and they were all like CIMAs. Best example about why it's not a boring qualification. When the pandemic happened, you all would have noticed a lot of people cut their costs. Right? They spent less on stuff, even if your salaries weren't impacted or you've not had job ever. You still reduced your expenses because you were saving for a rainy day. Last year, Touchwood till now, our pathway routes have seen the highest intakes possible, not just in Sri Lanka, across the region. So these pathways are where people can come on to do the CIMA qualification on a fast track route, maybe based on their educational qualifications, based on their experience, or if they were chartered accountants and so on. Highest intakes. Even our normal students, it's the highest intake. There is value seen in the profession. For me, as an example, being an accountant, when I see an opportunity, I see the pound sign. It's something that is within me. For some reason, that's why accountants are important, because we always try to see how we can create money, how
Yeah.
we can reduce cost, how we can bring value to ourselves, to our organizations, and for those who are really passionate about the even our own economy. So overall, it's important. Knowing your numbers is important, whether you're an engineer, you're in HR, marketing, wherever you are. Numbers and the value of making use of those numbers, manipulating the numbers to create a story and getting use out of it will never go away. So
Amazing.
no, it's not boring.
Nice.
Actually, it's very, very exciting.
Brilliant answer, and that is, I mean, what Zahara I think said was that accountants always see it's a numbers game, and you always try to see the value in it. So I mean, that is definitely something which is very important and very well established, that the accountants are not boring.
You're looking at two accountants. Do we look boring? Is the only question that you could ask. and
Definitely,
also, and
but
also,
I think she was very
adding
specific enough to also say that it's
it's
about
CIMA and not chartered.
management.
Yeah, there was a beautiful pathway to merge these into accountancy and speak about accountancy. But then Zara, being a true leader of her organization, she said, let's divide it and let's speak about my organization alone. Beautiful. Beautifully done there. But I'm sure the love for accountancy as a whole is definitely there. But also, what I would say in this is that organizations are judged by the amount of revenue they make, amount of profit they make, people they hire, and all of that. Then how come the profession that makes sure ensures those numbers are considered boring? If the operation is not boring, the result cannot also be boring. Yeah. So
Yeah.
amazing. Zara, the next question is one of the things that is threatening our profession as we grow is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all the technological changes that are fast approaching. We can see that the counters that were manned by men or women at the fast food restaurants are now just computer screens. And we can see it happening very fast, and in our profession, it's happening even more faster. They say it's going to, maybe in about 20 years, the accountancy profession is going to be really badly affected by the technological changes that are coming. As a person who is responsible for promoting accountancy and finance as a profession, how would you say we can be ready for the future?
Okay. So all these things that you were talking about, CIMA, I joined CIMA only in 2017. Even at that point, we were talking about all of this. We had
Right.
roundtables where we had prominent finance and business professionals coming on board across the world to discuss about these things. And we had this brilliant mastermind called Dr. Noel Targo, who was part of developing our syllabus for CIMA.
Right.
And what happened, the outcome that came out of it was a report, a research report called Future of Finance.
Right.
And in 2019, we launched our new syllabus, and that included all those things that you spoke about. In
Fantastic.
2016, actually, the organization made a brilliant decision, of course, with the approval of our members. We tied up with the American Institute of CPAs, and we
Right.
created a larger organization called the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants.
Right.
Through that, we were able to do various researches, and now our syllabus includes all those things that you spoke about: artificial
Amazing.
intelligence, machine learning, robotic process automation.
Amazing.
At this point in time, there's something called dynamic audit solutions. The careers of auditors are going to change. It's going to
Definitely.
completely change. I'm not
Yes.
very much into that area because it's more into public accounting. I am more into
Right.
management accounting.
Yes.
But this organization has been doing quite a lot, and we are ready for the changes. And like you rightly said, all those boring work reconciliations to double entries that we learned years ago, all that's going to go away. Systems are going to do all of that for you. You don't need a person there. You'll probably have bots working on those.
True.
Even as of now, there are so many companies that use bots. Even our own company for our ARAP, we use bots. So yes, and we've included all of these digital skills into our competency framework, and now we teach
Amazing.
those to our students. Any student who has been doing CIMA since 2019 has been studying all of that.
Fabulous.
We are doing a lot of credentials on all of these areas. Things like even cybersecurity matters thereafter, because once you have these bots
True.
working for you and stuff, there will be
Yeah.
other impacts that come in,
Sure.
right?
Definitely.
So for our members in 2019, we launched something called the Digital Mindset Pack. We've given it free of charge to all our members, where they can have learning about all of these areas, because we do understand that they are now
Amazing.
out of the learning phase, but
Amazing.
learning is a lifelong journey. I'm sure
Amazing.
Donna knows this really well as a coach and a trainer. So we want our people to be relevant for the times, and because of that, we are investing a lot of money. I'll give one more example. CIMA exams used to be handwritten, right? Like
Yes.
currently our O-levels, our A-levels, and so on. When I was doing my certs exams, 2003, 2004, they launched the online exams, and all of us were like, no, not for us. We're so used to writing, Like my boss gives the best example is you write and then you go put your hand in the fridge because you write so much.
Yes.
But 2015, we went completely online with exams. So exams are like, computer based and so on. Last
Yes.
year, during the pandemic, when the entire world was under lockdown, we even launched those same exams to be taken from home. So this organization is future ready. It's very forward
Yes.
thinking. So
Amazing.
in a way, we are not worried about automation. We are ready to equip our members, our students with the skills needed for the future. And I
Amazing.
believe the other professional bodies are also following suit. So yes,
Amazing. Amazing.
it's
Yeah.
different, and it's no longer traditional finance anymore. It's now like transformational finance. Um,
Yeah.
the roles of AR clerks and AP clerks to finance managers, it's no longer there. We now have data scientists coming out of
Yeah.
CIMA. We have
True.
chief value architects. We don't even have like CFOs. When I look at my member directory and I look at their designations, it's like, wow, roles that never existed before. But that's the future. And 2030, it's
Amazing.
going to change even more.
Mm.
World
Yeah.
Economic Forum, as well as Forbes, says 50% of the people are going to need reskilling, and that's what we are
Yeah.
working towards.
Amazing, amazing,
Amazing.
fabulous. I have to say, the amount of work your organization has put, CIMA has put in to make accountants, your students, your members, future ready is truly amazing. To have all these planned and work towards is truly inspiring, amazing. And I think on that note, Ravi Uduela, a friend of us, is asking, finance should evolve from reporting to business partnering. Thoughts? He is a CIMA member for, just for context. Finance should evolve from reporting to business partnering. He asks your thoughts.
Definitely. And I still remember the first time I heard business partnering was in 2008-ish. So I was part of
Okay.
a business partnering team. So
Right.
it's kind of old for us because the finance transformation has been happening
Yes.
since then.
Definitely.
And now it's more about value creation. So business
Correct.
partnering, for sure,
Yeah.
it has
For
to be
sure.
there. And
Yeah.
in
In the
every
sense,
function, because that's how we bring the best out of it, best out of those functions.
correct. I think any organization that is still considering us to be the people who prepare the monthly accounts as failed, and they have stopped growing and improving. And I think that is what has happened, and that is what you're saying. And
Yeah.
also, I have to say, now you have said that CFO is bad, and Chief Value Officer is what Chief Value Architect is what we should go for. I'm going to go for it, God willing. Thank you, Zahara. Thank you very much. Donna?
Yeah, of course. So let's head on to the next question, Sarah. Well, they say the best thing money can buy is financial freedom, and the COVID pandemic times has really challenged the best of us. So, I'm just curious to know what are your top three suggestions for achieving financial freedom.
Okay, number one, something that I firmly believe in is getting a proper education. Whatever field that you're passionate about, get a proper education, a solid foundation for yourself. It could be a professional qualification, it could be a certification, a credential, something of the sort. Have something for a rainy day, because
Yeah.
you might have a job today, you might end up doing your own business someday. You're going to need a qualification to get back into the working world, or you might need that qualification to help you understand how to make the most of it. I'm not saying this because I'm from CIMA, but having a finance related qualification will definitely help you do a lot of things. Um, I'll bring one example of a particular. All of us know Roshan Mahanama, right? So
Yes.
his daughter did CIMA, and then she went the professional world,
Right.
and then she went on to do her business. And Roshan himself has told me that CIMA helped her hell of a lot in that. And that's not the only one. I
Amazing.
know so many ladies
So many.
who've actually had it, and even the gents for that matter. So that's one.
Yes.
Secondly, financial literacy. It's a little unfortunate that no matter how educated we are, and we are known to have very high literacy rates,
Yeah.
we still are not financially literate in this country.
Correct.
I'm sure most of us are in various Facebook community pages, right? Look at some of the queries that come up. I am in a lot of those lady forums, so I get to see it's not just the rural population. We would think it's the rural population who's not aware. It's even our own city crowd who are not aware. That's why they get into all of these credit card fiascos, pyramid schemes, and all sorts of things. So be aware of your income, don't spend just to keep up. Save
Exactly.
for a certain purpose. Be aware of how your money comes, where your money goes. They'll end up saving, and you'll have like a better day. Thirdly, set goals in life and work towards them. Invariably, you'll end up saving money, and you'll achieve your goals as well. Those are my main 3 things.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'm sure our viewers really noted it down, and thank you very much, Zahara. And I think now we are heading on to something that is very, very interesting. We are going to lift the personal veil of Zahara. So let's see how Zahara is going to face the rapid fire questions.
Zahara, you think you're ready?
Yep.
All right then. Coffee person, tea gal?
I love my iced coffee.
Okay, great. Morning, evening, all the time.
I think any day iced coffee, and especially these days, because I'm not allowed to have coffee because of the pregnancy. I'm not allowed to have coffee. So these days, anytime.
Anytime. Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Join the army, become a lawyer, or else be a journalist. Unfortunately, didn't do all 3, but hopefully someday I'll probably go down the journalist route.
Nice.
Wow, amazing. Interesting.
That's
very
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
What is the most used app on your smartphone, Zahara?
WhatsApp. Too many queries that come through, too many groups.
Yeah. That's true, because we had Thirusayandan, we had Suranga Hera, we had Mr. Professor Anand Javadana. Everybody's favorite, most used app is the WhatsApp.
It's not necessarily favorite, by the way, Prasad. It's
just I know. At times,
it's used. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who do you admire the most and why?
Okay. Really tough. Okay.
It can be a few people.
I think in a way it's my dad, because personally I've seen the kind of journey he's had with life. He's not had it easy. We were kind of middle class, so he's achieved so much in life, and he's worked so hard for us. So I guess it's my dad, and also my husband, because he achieved everything that he has from basically nothing. So, amazing 2 people in my life.
Amazing. And I think we all come from places that aren't great, but we should truly be happy and proud of where we have come, and we should truly be grateful to all people, to our parents, to the people around us who came from nowhere and uplifted us and brought us here. And you have a beautiful story like that too. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What is the best way to run a meeting, Zahara?
I would prefer to have like a set agenda, set timing, and all of that.
Right.
Husband would never agree to that, because he would say, I'm always late. I'm not a scheduled person. He doesn't know. I'm a different person when I'm at work, and I'm a completely different person at home. So he doesn't know.
Right.
But yeah, that's it.
So no agenda at home, always agenda at work.
Work, yeah.
Yeah, very
Perfect.
last minute at home.
The
Yeah,
first,
but the work gets done because without women, nothing happens at work. At home, yeah, true.
yeah, of course.
Um, so it's a fit.
Okay,
It's I am not into cars. I hate cars. So, but then yes, it's
a,
fit.
a
But
Honda Fit.
I actually have a story
Yes,
with regards to this. It's not what I
right,
owned, but it's what my dad owned. So it's
right.
kind of relating to what I spoke about earlier.
Okay,
We had this Beetle, the old school
right.
Beetle. We
Yes.
had a orange color one.
Okay,
And I remember there was a point in time that I had to go overseas from school. From Alethea, they sent us to Lucknow for this quality circle competition.
right.
I remember my dad sold the car to ensure
Oh,
that I could go.
wow,
So, I really want to
wow.
buy that back. I've unfortunately lost the number of the car. So that's something that me and my husband want to do that. And just, I mean,
Yeah,
my dad can't drive now, but at least, buy that back for those.
yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I hope, and I pray that you will get the car back and will be able to give that satisfaction to your father.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. I even got chills. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing, Sarah.
yeah. Very true.
Um,
Very true.
so your next question is: after your smartphone, what's the one gadget that you can't live without?
If you could consider the work laptop as a gadget, just that.
Definitely, definitely. Some of us are tied to it. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Zara, what was the toughest period of your career?
So there was a point in time at one of the organizations that I worked for that I wasn't growing. I
Right.
I mean, no matter how much I did my work, no matter how much I achieved targets, all of that, I simply wasn't, growing. I wasn't given certain opportunities that other favorite people got and so on.
Absolutely.
But that was kind of tough. And I knew I was giving my best because I always give my best. I
Right.
am very, very loyal to whatever organization that I work for. And I
Right.
always do my best. So yes, that was the toughest, but overall
Right.
it's taught me lessons that I would never do that to my colleagues ever. Yes.
So not to have favorites and promote them and help them at the expense of somebody else would be a learning.
Not just that, also to kind of support my colleagues in other ways. I mean, if the organization does not have a way of promoting them, then you give them
Right.
projects, you keep them
Yeah.
motivated. You don't
Motivate.
make them
Mhm.
feel like coming to work. uh, you don't feel like coming to work.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
there are other ways of managing things, right? Other ways of keeping a staff happy. So
Correct. 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 Amazing. Amazing.
What is one attribute that every good team member should have, Sarah?
honesty.
Right.
Simple. I think that word says it all.
Yeah.
And that, Zara, is the rapid fire questions. Thank you very much for being a super sport and taking
Yeah.
it head on and being super.
You have
Fabulous.
so well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So now we move on to the last 15 minutes of the podcast. Didn't realize that it has been 45 minutes already. So let's
Yeah.
quickly move on to the next questions. Um, our theme for this season has been harnessing the potential of people. Zara, you are responsible for an organization that paves paths for many young people, young and ambitious people. And how do you harness their potential?
First, by helping them understand their potential, because a lot of people don't know that they can do things. So through CIMA, we get the students and our members involved in various projects, and this is something that even helped me in my journey. We have the network committees, we have the subcommittees which work on various different projects. We also have various initiatives where we get these people on board. So whilst their professional qualification, the main qualification, their weapon, that's just 60%. We need to keep giving them opportunities to grow. So we do things like mentoring, where we put them in touch with big names, the big business leaders, and so on. We give them opportunities to network through projects and all of that. So those are some of the things that we do. But continuously, we do a lot of CPDs and so on.
Yeah.
Because we want them to understand that they have talent within themselves that they need to realize and come out with. But mainly those subcommittees and the project committees are how they grow. That's what I have seen.
True. Very true. Zara, I have to be honest here and say that when our mentors told us, go and participate in extracurricular activities, go be part of organizations that are not only don't only do exams, study, don't go only to the library and come back home, or go to work and come back home. Do things that are outside so that you can actually truly grow and you become a full well-rounded professional. At those good old days we didn't understand it, but then now, as a person who uh, makes people go for things like that, now I understand the value of it, and you covered it perfectly well. I think it's only six. The qualification is very important. 60% of what we become, but then there is a 40% we will not be tapping into if we only focus on the exams. Amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah?
Yeah. So I'll quickly head on to the next question because we have limited time. Alone, we can do so little, Zara, but together we can do so much. How do you suggest we create a collaborative work culture?
So, like you rightly said, if you're on our own, it's only so much that we can do. But when we are together, it's the synergies, right? 1 plus 1 is not 2.
Yeah.
So communication plays a very important role when you collaborate as well.
Yes.
Like one of the examples again that I can bring from my own organization is this is a brainchild of my boss Venkat. So
Right.
he created APAC-wide work groups, and
Right.
now we not just collaborate within the country, but we also collaborate across the region. There is
Right.
so much of best practice that is being shared amongst each other. We
Right.
help each other succeed. Yes, the work hours can be a little bit crazy because it could be from Malaysia time to the US times and so on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we achieve so much more.
Very
And that
true.
is also one of the things that I've done when I took over CIMA in Sri Lanka. I started collaborating with various other organizations. So it's not just internal, external as well. If you all would remember, we, along with ICCSL and Daily FT, we brought this fireside chat where we brought these
Right.
top entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So we continue to collaborate with Slate, Slascom, all the organizations, because there's only so much that we can do if we go this journey alone.
Correct. Perfect.
So definitely, yeah, it matters and helps.
Zara, on that, just a quick question, because we all should learn this also. Now, for example, you said you are collaborating with somebody, could be a country manager in India, Nepal, Bhutan, Malaysia. All of these people could also be seen as competitors, isn't it? Like, could be. Like, maybe you all are aiming one day to become the head of CIMA Global. Could be, right? So that is what happens to all of us too. Like, we are in different teams, and we could be aiming at the same promotion that could, culminate in the top position.
Yeah.
So how to keep that competition away, collaborate, share freely, and then work towards a goal where everybody wins? How do you cultivate that idea?
Okay. For me, honestly, it's about giving my best. It's not about who will get the recognition at the end of the day. It's about giving my best to the organization towards whatever project that we work on, because someday it will be seen that I wasn't faking it. I was doing my best and doing 100% or more that I could have done. And for me, my colleagues are, I don't know, they're a family. So I've not really felt that so much. But yes, we are all fighting for a position probably out there. But in this organization, in the current setup that I have an amazing work family in Sri Lanka, in the region, and even across globally. And yeah,
Amazing.
our supervisor is such an inspirational leader. He's Sri Lankan, by the way,
Oh wow.
but based out of Malaysia. So he leads us in such a manner that we don't feel it.
Amazing. That's fantastic. It has to come from the leader and also from all of us who are part of the team so that we can create that collaborative culture, isn't it? Amazing. Amazing. Zara. Amazing. Fabulous. Fabulous. Zara, the next question that I would like to ask is now, all of us, our organizations have great visions, but then any vision that doesn't have a buy in of the team is just a statement on the wall. CIMA, for example, has a global vision. How do you encourage the buy in from the team for the vision?
First thing is to make sure that the vision is known across the organization, whether they be permanent staff or temp staff that we take on board. Anyone who comes on board, they need to understand the vision of the organization and then how we are working towards that. So CIMA, as part of the association, our vision is to be the most influential body of management and public accountants in the world. And this is drilled into us every day, like, in some sort of the manner, on our slides, on our desktop covers, all of that.
Yeah.
We have very clear goals, clear KPIs. There's a lot of clarity. And when it comes to the local level, to get the buy-in, something that we always do is before we launch something, we get the team involved. We get their, we take the project to them, we get their feedback, we revise it accordingly, and we get their buy-in. Because if, like I said earlier, if their heart's not in it, it's not going to happen.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
one part of it is that, and the second part is also how the organization treats you. And as part of CIMA, the association, they treat us so well. I mean, the pandemic period was the best example we could go through. There's so much of flexibility given. There's a lot of conscious effort taken on our mental well-being, on our emotional well-being. Have you guys ever heard of any company that gives a day off for the entire organization for their well-being? So this particular day off, we're not supposed to touch anything. Nobody works.
Wow.
Every year, at the end of the year, right after the Christmas period, everybody in the company gets 5 days off. Nobody works.
Wow.
Nobody's supposed to work.
Wow.
So there are such amazing practices that our
That's
company
amazing.
has. And
Yeah.
obviously, we know what's happening in terms of strategy. The goals are set for a couple of years. Yes, things can change. Obviously, things are changing.
Yeah.
But we know where we want to get to, and we will get there.
Amazing.
Already we are
And
ahead.
I like the conviction with which you say it. Amazing. Fabulous. And we wish you the best. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Donna, I think we have time for one question.
Yeah, of course. Let's go for it.
Okay.
What is the importance of communication in harnessing the potential of people, Zara?
Communication, you do or you die. There's a reason why communication was named as one of the 4 critical competencies, right? I think it was World Economic Forum, 21st century skills. If you don't communicate, you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve. So it's very critical for leaders to be able to communicate properly as well. That's why there's so much of training being done on communication skills. Even in communicating, there are certain things to be mindful of for a leader specifically.
Yeah.
One is you need to be very authentic. You need to be a storyteller at times.
Yeah.
Because then the message gets across.
Yes.
Thirdly, you need to listen. And that is active listening, not
Nice.
passive listening, because if not, it'll be just one-way communications there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes. it's very, very important, because if not, the people that you want to harness the potential of, you will never get your message across to them. You will
Yeah,
never give let them have the opportunity to, come out. Their
Correct.
potential will never come out if you're
Correct.
only
I agree.
lecturing them or stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing.
Too many
Fabulous.
people.
Very well said.
I
Very,
know.
very well. Every single answer. What I like is there is a story, there is a reasoning, there is a future outlook to it, and then there is also what you're currently doing. It's not only a promise of the future, but also a promise of the present, where what you're doing. Thank you very much, Zara. Donna?
Yeah. And I think I completely agree with what Yoga said. You very well articulated your opinion and the stories, the reason why you're doing it, and all that. And it has been such a wonderful 1 hour speaking to you. To be honest, like I really didn't feel like the time was going, because it was so interesting to listen to you. And we are really looking forward to maybe have you once again. I mean, I'm sure like we have so many things to talk about, and you have plenty of things to share with us. And specifically, I wish we could talk about women and that role a little bit more. So probably in a future day, definitely, Zara, we would love to have you. So kudos to you, and thank you for spending your time, valuable time, busy time with us, and especially like the fact that you're expecting a baby. Should I say this?
No.
Yeah. So Zara is driving with us today. She's expecting a baby, and the delivery is due this Thursday. And such a iron lady that we had today. I'm so proud of you and for what you have achieved. Thank you for spending your time with us, and may the force be with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zara. It has been nothing but a pleasure. We have spoken in very personal forums or wherever, but then this has been very professional, and it's amazing to see the perspectives you share and believe, and to learn about the organization that you represent spoken of in such a high manner, which was great, absolutely amazing. It was an hour that we are going to remember, and I'm sure every member who joined today is going to appreciate also. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, and we wish you the safest, most happiest
Yeah.
giving birth possible. Wish you the very best. May the Almighty be with you. Thank you
Thank you
very much.
so much, Donna, and thank you, Yoga. I enjoyed it as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. For everybody else, thank you very much for joining in today. Also, this brings us to the end of this episode. We will be meeting you next week with a person who is a mentalist and also a chief executive officer. Look forward for it, and we will see you next Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Thank you. Take care. Be safe, and good night.